Today, we focus on President Tinubu's agriculture agenda and food security with the Vice President of the Federation of Agricultural Commodity Association of Nigeria, Shitu Mohammed Kabir, as our guest. Welcome to Politics Tonight. Stay with us. We will be right back. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. You're still watching Politics Tonight, digging beyond the headlines. And now to our interview with the guest of the day. I am joined by the Vice President of Federation of Agricultural Commodity Association of Nigeria, Shitu Mohammed Kabir, for discussion on President Tinubu's agriculture agenda and food security. Thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you. Good evening, Nigeria.
All right, so Mr. Kabir, let's start with agriculture agenda of the Tinubu administration. How will you describe the approach of the government to agriculture?
Thank you. It's a welcoming development. We in the Federation of Agricultural Commodity Association, FACAN, it's a welcoming development to us. It's been long that we've been urging government, even the previous government, to declare emergency on agriculture and food security. What we have, if you look immediately after the COVID, the next thing the world is looking for is food. So during the COVID, we advised the previous administration to take this step that the present administration just took. And you can see in the next 1 year, Nigerians will see the impact because we lost out from industrial revolution of the world. We are not in the advanced technology, but the world needs food. The climate change has put Europe and Middle East in a very high problematic. And the only way you have green is in Africa, West African and Nigerian in particular, where we have 60% of our land, an arable land. And this will help the country. So the step Mr. President just took now will lead Nigeria into food sufficiency and be able to also feed the world and bring the world to Nigeria. And we must take this advantage to now go into not only cultivating our food. First, we must mechanize our agricultural sector. Secondly, we must be able to process our agricultural product within the country. Enough of time that we export raw materials and then import finished goods with our hard-earned fund or money or dollar. Now, how do we do it? We will urge Mr. President to take a further step by banning the exportation of raw material until it is processed in Nigeria. Why that? If you process this raw materials in Nigeria, it gives us more and more money. It creates employment opportunity for our teeming youth. It developed our rural areas because you must now put off feeder roads. You must now mechanize our agricultural sector. We must now look at processing. And with this processing, we now have long value chain. That means from the cultivation to transportation, to processing of our product, to market, and to export. It's a long chain that takes our teeming youth out of unemployment. It will give employment opportunity. And as soon as our youth have employment opportunity, you are now giving security. Because why the security is persistent is because we left our rural area value, where there were the forest, the rural areas, there's no economic activities. This step Mr. President took now, he took 2 steps that Nigeria must now commend him for. He has signed into law the electricity bill, where our electricity, the state, the local government, and businesses, ventures, can now be able to generate, transmit, and distribute electricity. The state will do that within their area. The local government area can also go into within their own enclave. What that means that where we don't have solar, we can have hydro. Where we don't have hydro, we can now start using other either wind, or we also use turbine. So we must, as a country, take those 2 steps that Mr. President take as an advantage, not to be of disadvantage to us. We must take this step because it go pari passu. You can't develop rural area, you can't go into processing without electricity. He has given us the electricity. We can now, on our own, as a small holder, farm and big farmers, we can now go into bringing in solar. If it is in an area that we can use wind, we can now start using the wind. If it's in an area that we can go into hydro, we have rivers, we can now go to hydro. So there's no game blame say you must go into national grid before you now distribute. Since I can distribute within my farm and within my community, therefore somebody can take the bill of that community and say, look, I will provide electricity to this rural farm area. And let me give you an example. If you go to a forest, what stops us from putting up kola nut, cocoa, and co in that place? Before, even if you put up this cocoa, there's no way you can put up processing. Now you can process your cocoa because you can either use solar or wind, or you can use hydro within those areas to process your agricultural product. And then instead of what now going to import sweet and other things, we can now on our own in Nigeria export instead of importing. And then if you get to my Borno state, where you have gum arabic, you can now start processing your gum arabic and then be able to export gum arabic from Borno state. We have where we left shallow. I was in the Europe in last year, and I was there in order to buy wheat. What the Europeans told me, which I have even in camera, is that you have the best wheat in Nigeria, and that is in Lake Chad belt. It is time for Nigerians to move, and the government to move to be able to develop this Lake Chad region. Already we have Lake Chad Research Institute who can give us crops that can be grown around there. And we have also a Lake Chad Basin development, which can also go into development of this area. It is time that we take advantage of these 2 major steps that Mr. President have taken. And we at the FACAN, we are commending Mr. President for this noble objective, for taking the bull by the horn.
All right, thank you very much for that robust submission. I mean, agriculture used to be the mainstay of the country's economy. For you, what steps do you think the government needs to do to revive agriculture in Nigeria?
Thank you. What I've stopped, and I'll give example with myself. As president of cowpea and beans farmers, my experience with CBN, I have then about 150,000 farmers in Gombe, in Borno, in Yobe, which we submitted our names into Anchor Borrower program of the CBN. Our bank, which is Keystone Bank, approved the loan for us. Only when it gets to the Central Bank of Nigeria, the governor says beans is not a national crop and therefore cannot be supported. Up till date, I have to strive on my own as the president of cowpea and beans to give them input. Why saying this is for Nigerians to see why we could not succeed, why Anchor Brower is a failure. It's a failure because it was just however they play it. So Mr. President should also now watch so that they don't lure Mr. President into this type of program. I think the best for us is to look towards Bank of Industry, Bank of Agriculture, and look at how do we now disburse these loans. One, the impediment against farmers is that you ask a farmer to bring a land from Abuja, a house from Lagos, a property from Kaduna, a property from Kano for a rural populace, somebody that maybe is in Talata Mafara, or somebody that maybe is in Dambua. Where will he get those property for him to come access those loans? I cultivate at least 5,000 hectares today in Nigeria. For the past 4 years, I've not been able to access 10 kobo loan with either CBN or NISA.
No,
so
Kabir,
our
what do you think the government needs to do to revive agriculture?
That what I'm telling you. For you to revive agriculture, you must make fund available. And in making fund available, you must remove the impediment. The impediment is that we must now use technology to know that this man have 1 hectare, maybe in Kaduna. And that 1 hectare can be, you can have a control center where you are seeing that farm. And then that farm become the collateral, not for the person to now go and take his grandfather's house to become a collateral. Those are the impediments. That's why people could not access loan in Nigeria. So they must look towards it, because you must access loan to be able to grow your agricultural sector. And in order to grow agricultural sector, we must mechanize. And you cannot go into mechanization without fund. That's why that funding accessibility is very, very critical. And after assessing your loan, we must also now look at how do we get seed to the farmer. That is, I'm going now to input fertilizer and seed and all other input to the farmers. We must find a better way, better than the way it used to be. And we must be able to now get a transparency way of taking it. And then we must now also look at our rural populace, where they are producing tomato like in Talata Mafara. We must be able to now look at processing plant, not for them to take tomato from Talata Mafara and get to Lagos before they can sell their tomato. Let's take processing plant to those areas that we can now access. If you are producing gum arabic, let's get gum arabic processing machine to that village where they are processing it. If we are going to process yam, let's get the processing plant to exactly where those yam are being produced. If you are going to process your cocoa, you must be able to now say, okay, this cocoa must be. And then let's assume I want to go into fishing. You must now look at, okay, the coastal cities, the coastal villages. Where will you put this process? Because without processing, we will only be cultivating, or we will only...
So, Mr. Kabir, with all of this you've mentioned, how serious is the issue of food inflation in the country?
Food inflation comes about when there's high demand and low supply. Therefore, by the time you open up the rural areas, Nigerians are ready to go to their farm. Yes, you may talk of security, but when you employ the youth of an area, they are the one, today, they are the one that will cultivate the food. They are the one that will go into the agriculture, because we must make agriculture attractive. And that is why I said we must take advantage of this noble objective of Mr. President, electricity and food security, by going into agriculture. Because what is the impediment, the major impediment of developing our rural area is that there's no electricity. Now, you can now provide electricity for yourself. If we take advantage of putting electricity in our rural areas, we will stop urban migration. And people will now stay back in their rural villages. And then they will find out that if Mr. A was able to cultivate 10 hectares this year, and he built good house, he has his wife, he got a good wife, and he was able to live a good life, people will move from the city to the village. And by the time people move to the village and to the agriculture, today we are agrarian society. And we must take advantage of this green land that God gives to us to attract international community to come and invest in Nigeria. Because
so, Mr. Kabir, the government said what we have on our hands is more of affordability of food and not availability. Do you agree with that submission?
For me, I don't want to believe, because I'm a farmer. I don't want, we can't go into grammar of saying it's just the affordability is not available. If you talk of that, you find out that if there's enough, the price will crash. But if there's no enough, you have high demand for low supply. How will you now look at, even if you have to have money to buy it, and it is not much available, it's being rationalized among where you get, or go to some area, you find out that to get even the food is not there. There are areas, go to some which I don't like to mention areas. Look at some area, you don't get, not that we import. If we have availability in Nigeria, why are we importing rice? Why are we importing beans that we can?
Mr. Kabir, so now that the president has declared a state of emergency on food security, what impact do you think this will have on food production?
Come again? Sorry.
The president has declared a state of emergency on food security. What impact do you think this will have on food production?
I'm excited because this is what I've been urging Nigerian government to do for a long time. Now that the president has declared state of emergency, that means all hands will be on deck to make sure that food production, agriculture is given the best attention it needed. Previously, look at the budget that go to agriculture. And I believe the budget that will go to agriculture now will be enough for us to, and then implementation of the disbursement of agricultural fund and input. That is why I'm talking of looking at what CBN have done before, which has not yet any good result, and looking towards, because when you are talking, you must now make bank of agric, you must now make bank of industry, you must now look inwards to, okay, how, because bank of industry can back the farmers in area of bringing in equipment, tractors, processing plant, and co. Bank of Agriculture can now start looking inward towards how do they fund farms. And then instead of taking the anchor borrower model, it can be taken, and then they will now register it in a manner with which instead of having city farmers, you now have real farmers accessing the fund. Because the real farmer were not accessing the fund because of the impediment that they put on their in the area of bringing in collateral. You must pay 15%, you must do this. Now, we must now reject that. If we do that, Mr. President, in the next 1 year, we will have availability of food. What we are saying now that it is affordability.
Critical aspect of this, Mr. Kabir, one critical aspect of this is that all matters of food and water will now be included in the purview of National Security Council. How well can that body galvanize food production?
Because that body now will look at even, as you said, the security. There will be a way to curb the security. There will be a way, because why do we have the insurgents, the kidnappers? Is because it is more lucrative for them to kidnap you and go and get money. But if there is this deliberate policy by Mr. President to send us back to farm, those young people are the people you are going to employ. And as so far they have work in their hand, nobody like to be criminal. Nobody like to go and be hiding inside bush. And then we will now, with this, I will also urge Mr. President, the security or the committee that they put in place to look at the forest that we left shallow. Yeah, which has no economic benefit to Nigeria. This forest must now be clear, and then you put up those crops, cash crops, in each area. Look at the or a forest now. Is there, and that's why the kidnappers are using it as a hideout. For you, I'm not saying clear the tree alone, no. You must also plant the tree, but those crops that will be of benefit to people. And then there will be economic activities in our forest. And by the time you have economic activities, all this security problem will be taken care of. Because when you populate an area with economic activities, the evil mind could not be able to use it. And that's what we are saying. In 2006, I told Nigerians that we must clear Sambisa forest. Not only clear it, let's cultivate gum arabic and other economic tree around there and make the place economically viable. If there's economic activities going on within these our rural areas, we won't have this, what we have in hand. Security is not just, in curbing security is not just for us to take gun or take mortar bomb and be killing ourselves. No, you must also now look at a better way of engaging the youth, engaging those people, even those that aren't into insurgency. It's because it's more profitable to them. But if they find out that
I've been speaking with the Vice President of Federation of Agricultural Commodity Association of Nigeria, Shitu Muhammad Kabir, tonight to discuss President Tinubu's agriculture agenda and food security. Thank you very much, sir, for finding time to join us tonight. Thank you very much for your submission. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for watching. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But the conversation continues from here. Get in touch with us on Twitter at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We are also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Bye.
It's the Premier League all on DSTV. All the goals, all the clashes, all the moments. All of Rashford, Salah, and Saka.
This start is
All in the language of your choice. All in HD. Available on all this bouquet to choose from. To watch on all these devices. Stay connected for all the action. Get DSTV with an HD decoder. Plus dish plus 1 month confirmed for 18,500 Naira. It's the Premier League. All on DSTV.
The following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV.
Do you spend the night trying to get comfortable? Your knees rub bone on bone. Your back and hips ache. You wake up in pain? Not anymore. ShopX TV is proud to introduce the Contour Legacy Pillow, the patented, ergonomically designed tapered leg pillow that naturally fits the contours of your legs, knees and thighs to help align your spine and alleviate pain. Watch, when you sleep on your side, your leg falls forward, twisting your pelvis and lower back, putting pressure on your spine, hip and sciatic. But the Contour Legacy Pillow cushions your knees and cradles your legs, relieving stress on joints while restoring your lower back alignment. Sleeping on your side, your leg comes over and puts you out of alignment, causing lower back pain, hip pain, even knee pain. By using the Contour Legacy Pillow, it restores the natural alignment of the spine, helping to alleviate pain and pressure, leading to much more restful sleep. Old-fashioned leg pillows are bulky, but the anatomical design of the Legacy Pillow fits perfectly the shape of your body the way nature intended. You can even use two together for full leg alignment. Legacy Pillow is exclusively ventilated, so it always stays cool and dry. With top crescent design, it cuddles up to you perfectly and easily moves with you. Ordinary pillows go flat, but the Legacy Pillow is made up of soft memory foam, so it never loses its shape and the cover is machine washable. The Contour Legacy Pillow is now available in Nigeria, exclusively from ShopX TV. You could be paying up to 500,000 naira for an orthopedic bed that doesn't properly support your spine. But call the number on your screen now and get 2 Legacy leg pillows for just 69,900 naira. And get relief from back and hip issues. But wait! If you call now, we'll upgrade you to the Contour Better Sleep Collection. The collection comes with 2 Contour Legacy leg pillows and 2 Contour Cool Gel head pillows at no extra charge. The Contour Cool Gel head pillow's soothing orthopedic support will cradle your head and neck for full alignment, while keeping you cool all through the night for the best sleep of your life. Incredible! That's 2 Contour Legacy pillows and 2 Cool Gel head pillows for just 69,900 naira. And that's not all. Place your order now and we'll also deliver your Contour Better Sleep collection with no shipping charge. But hurry! This is an exclusive ShopX TV offer and only available for a limited period. So, call now while stock lasts. Your rest is your wealth.
The proceeding was a paid presentation brought to you by ShopX TV.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Even at the height of the insurgency, Borno State was never completely under lockdown in terms of goods that landed there or passed through to other landlocked countries bordering this northeastern state in Nigeria. As the security situation continues to improve, the state is welcoming more investors while thanking those who stuck with it through the dark times. Nigeria Shippers Council was recently in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, to reopen discussions about the legacy inland dry port that the federal government had cited there. That report and tidbits will come your way after this short break. Do stay with us.
Nigerian Shippers Council, they to serve you well. No matter the problem, we go solve them for you.
Yes, so the Nigerian Shippers Council, they feel in a parole now for every level. And as soon as goods, they move from port A, go enter port B with a measure within on a needle. For the Nigerian Shippers Council, we don't sharp proper to fit hear you wella, work with you wella, and help you fit serve your customers them better, no matter where them day. As we country port economic regulator, the Nigerian Shippers Council get every now to fit make government consider the problem where shippers them they face. Visit we office for number 4 or to buy your daily show your daily. Papa, email us for nsc@shipperscouncil.gov.ng. We website now www.shipperscouncil.gov.ng.
For you, we dey gidigba,
Nigerian Shippers Council with the meeting now for the port of Nani.
Welcome back. My name is Rekia Zikru Yagoyaju, and this is The Shipper, brought to you by Nigeria's Port Economic Regulator, Nigerian Shippers Council. The Executive Secretary of Nigerian Shippers Council, Honorable Emmanuel Jime, led a delegation of top management to discuss the importance of activating the process of establishing the inland dry port that has been on the federal government's agenda since 2006. The governor, Professor Babagana Umara Zulum,